Caesar here. Alright, I think I've got a setup that will work for me, and hopefully for you, for this third tea talk. It's rather precarious, but I think I have enough space. So the subject I wanted to go over this time is essentially meditation. I think meditation has a lot to do. There we go. A lot to do with hypnosis and a lot to do with ASMR. That's the water heating. And I just wanted to go over some key thoughts of meditation that I've gathered throughout the last 20 plus years, really. Ever since I knew it existed till now. So there are some, I'll refer to them as facts for meditation, and there are just some sort of thoughts and perspectives that might be helpful to you regarding meditation. So this tea's already been rinsed. I'm just trying to infuse it for like the sixth time. Yeah. So a lot of people try and meditate, and I feel like I just want to set this up by saying that I feel a lot of people try and meditate, and especially in my country, North America, they try and do it just perfectly because they see these movies where these people have been meditating, assumedly for hours in this perfect pose, and you simply cannot leap into that sort of skill, that level of skill of meditation. And so, I just want to share some facts of meditation that should be very easing to you. The first one is that meditation is extremely versatile. And what I mean by that is it can be done during and without anything. For instance, right now, I am meditating to some degree, and I'm also serving tea and making an ASMR video. There's really no limitation to what else you can be doing while meditating. And secondly, you can do it without anything. You don't need anything material to do it. Not bad. And you don't even need a subject of thought to do it. It's just mostly, I feel, a practice of training your brain and body to let things happen, to accept things, and I'll talk a lot more about what sort of level of acceptance your brain wants to meditate in a couple of points from now. So yeah, meditation can be done without and during anything. The fact of the matter is, you've probably meditated without meaning to, really. So it can be entirely, and I'm just going to skip ahead to that next point, actually, because another point of mine is that you don't have to try to meditate. You can do it completely accidentally. Meditation is usually done during such activities that you are skillful in, and therefore that means you're practiced in. So if you're very practiced at something, it doesn't have to be really a simple task. It helps if it's not too complex, I feel, usually. But, any sort of task, however complex, if you're practiced at it enough, it is simple to you. And that really is the point. You can accidentally meditate while doing that task. I'm sure you've been doing something you're very skillful at, and at some point lost track of the fact that you were doing it. And all the while, even though you lost track, you did it perfectly well, maybe even better than ever before, and yet you just forgot you were doing it, and you've maybe done it 100 times since last you noticed. I feel like that's at least in part meditation. And keep that in mind. Practice is powerful. Just as someone trying to sit in a complicated, really extensive lotus position can achieve great meditation, they have to practice that quite a bit to get there. So whatever you're meditating during, it really helps. I don't want to say you have to, because you can get lucky in a way and just have a good mindset and meditate during something you're not so practiced at. But it generally helps to be doing it during something you are practiced at. And you can also be practiced at doing nothing. For me, an example was counting money. Is counting money, really. I worked a job where I closed every night and had to count out the till. So I would count up to $300 in change and bills, and then I would have to count it down to 100. Put in a deposit, and it was a really good experience for me, because not only did I get lots of practice doing it, and therefore I could sort of meditate during, but people at work, unlike many other tasks, would allow you time and space to do it. They basically had to accept the fact that you do it in your own way, and you do it in your own speed, so they facilitate that, and they're essentially, while you're learning to count money, they're there to support you, which is very comforting compared to a lot of the other tasks I had. So don't be intimidated by meditation. It's not there to be done perfectly at all. It's just there. This is an entirely new setup for me, this configuration of everything, so I'm a bit at a loss, but that's okay. I can still make tea, because I'm practiced at it, right? Why not? So, okay, the next thing, this was really a breakthrough, this next thing, for me, and I just realized it yesterday, and I've meditated since, not sitting down doing nothing, but, during other activities, and I kept this in mind the whole time, and I think it's exceptionally helpful to all skill levels, all levels of meditator. And that is, when you have a distracting thought while you're meditating, it is very common to notice that and sort of get stressed out by the fact that you are distracting yourself. I've noticed, and I truly believe, that this is the brain trying to get from point A to point B. Point B, the destination being a meditative mindset. So your brain needs to practice getting from point A, and in this case, point A is whatever distracting thought you have, to point B. So I believe it creates a route, electrically or physiologically, let's say. I believe that too. From whatever distracting thing you may be thinking about to then the meditative state that you will get to. So in essence, if you're attempting to meditate, or simply you have a distracting thought that isn't really useful, perhaps you're worrying too much about something, or it could even be so bad as to have, a really stressful memory. But I believe that is your brain trying to say, okay, I have this issue, but I have to start from there and get to the meditative state. So essentially when it pops up in your brain, it is an opportunity. It's a very special opportunity for you to get from that point A to point B. So it's a point of happiness, really. So next time you're meditating and you try and you get distracted, be happy about it. That's your brain trying to communicate. And I think the more practiced it gets, getting from a particular subject back to the meditative state, or to the meditative state, the better it can do so in the future. And I believe it does vary. It needs practice getting from all sorts of subjects, because when you think of a particular thing, they've shown in brain scans or some such, that certain areas of your brain fire depending on what you're thinking about, how stressful it is, yada yada. So getting from that sort of areas of firing in the brain to the meditative state is something to be learned. It's something to be practiced as well. So that's a really exciting thought for me personally. I think that's really special. I can now be excited, and am more excited and happy when my brain comes up with things that I might not want to be thinking about. It's just trying to create a route. Once again, you don't have to try to meditate. You can do it accidentally. I think that's really encouraging. And lastly, I want to talk about, this connects to another article I read just this morning as I woke up, to how we are hardwired as human beings to do things easily. In essence, your brain makes your body try and be lazy. And the article had to do with walking. You walk lazily to save energy, and this is done because our brain is still trying to conserve energy because it doesn't think it knows where the next meal is coming from. Us in the first world, of course, are surrounded by meal choices, and we have food everywhere. But the body hasn't caught up with that fact. Technology has advanced much faster than our body and brain in that manner. So in essence, a relaxed body facilitates the best meditation you can have. Yet, you might not want to follow your natural primal instincts to be lazy, so to speak, because in my opinion, laziness is basically using your body, trying to use the muscles it has while trying not to use the muscles it doesn't have. So, for instance, if you have an overworked muscle, if you lean in a particular angle and it really works one area of muscle a lot, that muscle will be used again because the body knows that you are strong there, whether or not it will tire out. I don't think it accounts for pain as much as other things. So it's up to you to counter that body's instinct and try and learn proper posture, to use everything, really, just a little bit. You don't want to use anything too much. Certainly, if you have something overused, you want to use that less. And if you have an area of your body where you need more practice there, more strength, more endurance, then you want to try and use that a bit more. And it sounds very daunting to try and understand exactly what angles to do what, but it takes a lot of practice. I've done a lot of posture work through yoga and relaxation classes, and I certainly don't think I'm the best at it, and I wouldn't be able to explain it to anyone, but for my own purposes, I've done a good job for me. Really what it comes down to is practice. Research what's good posture and try and look in the mirror and tell what's good posture for you depending on whatever activity you're doing. If you're sitting while you're meditating, or if you just want to walk better, you don't need to be meditating to try and get a better posture for whatever action you have. But it's important just to have good posture, ideally all day long. And of course, rest is important as well. Because trying to work all those muscles that haven't been worked in a while do require, of course, rest. So having a evenly relaxed body that's most conducive to meditation. You want things working, but you want to be relaxed at the same time. And that often comes down to breath, which I would say is, I didn't write this down, but I tout this as the most important physical measurement is breath. So if you've ever sang, which I don't, but I have friends that do and have, and they say that, pardon, the breath through the diaphragm and just correct breathing in general is extremely important to get the best sound. Voice actors probably have rather good posture. I'm sure they pay attention to it. I'm an aspiring voice actor, so it's kind of important for me. When I was young, I shouted a lot when I was angry. I think everyone does. And I sort of even found out then certain ways of breathing and posture would make it so that I could outshout my relatives. Oh, pardon. So whatever your purpose, you can find a better posture. Now I don't really have any reason to shout, nor do I like it. But, it had its purpose, and it was interesting to get better at it. Well, this is going to take a while. So I think, essentially, breathing is the number one facet to finding good posture and judging your body in general and your mind. So I can do quite deep diaphragm breathing just because, I don't know, as a weird kid, I was always fascinated by the feeling of it, and I could feel the stretching inside and just go as deep as I can. And that helped me later in life, after I hit puberty, sound even deeper, so I've had a bit of practice with it, a bit more down there. If you're breathing right, I think my point is, you'll find what you need to be doing. When I'm breathing not too quickly, usually slower is better, but you don't want to go too slow either. You don't want to go too deep as to overstretch yourself, and you certainly don't want to go too shallow. I'd say the most common things are to go too shallow and too quick. So if you'd like to err to breathing slowly and deeply, then I think it would help you quite a bit. At least for people in my country. I really would like to travel sometime because I'm grossly unaware of large cultural differences in breathing and posture, and I think those things are really fascinating to me. Anything that connects to proper breathing, posture, meditation, just how people work and get through their day, how they express things. I feel like I only know so little about humankind because I've been in this one country. Because I haven't been able to get out of the country, I do try and talk to foreigners as much as I can about what they think the biggest differences are between their country and my country, so to speak. And it's pretty enlightening. It's very interesting, and I love talking to them about it, especially since this is the closest I can get to their country. I mean, if I can't step foot there, the next best thing I can do is try and talk to someone who has a valid opinion, hopefully, on the differences. And this tea isn't so bad. So the last tea talk I had, I used a particular tea that I'm now out of, and I'm using, I believe they're called tuochas, Tuocha. Cha means just tea, and believe it or not, the word chai actually means tea too, but sort of American marketing has made chai into people think it's a milky, spicy, sweet drink. And that sort of helped to popularize teas, so that's fine. Even though it's technically incorrect. Tuocha. Tuo is, I'm not sure what that means. But it's shaped into little nests, so I think it has to do with the sort of shape that they're pressed into. I don't have one in front of me here, but basically it's a round rim, and on the inside it has a dimple down in it. So it's sort of a nest, like you would see a tiny, 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 tiny bird in. There are various sizes of nests, but the ones I bought are pretty small. And this is a very smooth, kind of sweet pour. Not as rough and necessarily strong as I like, but it's certainly decent and tasty. And it gets all the, I feel at least, it gets all the benefits that I want, and let's just call it need from pour. I want to finish this infusion before I leave you all. So I'm just going to sort of ramble on what's top of my head at this point. I think I've went over meditation to a good degree, and hopefully I made some sort of sense for you. I'd love to see the reactions and the viewers, your experiences in meditation. You're welcome to ask me questions, but really I'm I'm no expert on the subject. I like to help people, but I just don't want to point you the wrong way. So I'm really trying in this video to just give you some broad ideas that will help for everyone. And hopefully I've done that. Yeah, this video, I've tried to get myself in the camera as well, of course, in the shot. And the tea, although I'm kind of disappointed with me in the shot at the quality of camera I have, you really can't see the tea much, and I think it's a fascinatingly relaxing thing to watch happen. So I think, I assume you're not really getting the full effect of the tea serving, although it is helping me be relaxed and busying myself, because I'm always so energetic. I need something to do while I talk to anyone, anytime, honestly. I'm quite fidgety. So it does have its uses, but as a relaxing tea presentation, I think it probably falls short. And nevertheless, I'd like to try it and see how it works out. So here I am. And I'm using this different cup that's certainly bigger than my small clear ones, because I know I can drink this pour down pretty easily. It goes down really easily. When I meditate, I like to do so because I'm so energetic, really. I like to do so in standing yoga poses. I don't really recommend that for others necessarily, but if you find that you need to be expending energy that sort of helps you focus, then it's a good way to go. It's definitely one of the many good ways to go to keep your body active while meditating. I've tried again and again and again sitting meditation, and my back has some problems, so it's very difficult to keep, especially the lower back, in proper alignment while I do so. Even now, while I'm sitting on this yoga ball, I'm having difficulty keeping everything perfectly aligned, and I'm getting some pain. In the last video, I actually did something that worked quite well that I might try again. I was kneeling, and when I'm on the computer, about half the time I have to kneel, and half the time I'm sitting, so I really have to rotate to try and work out completely different muscles, because I get tired really quickly. My back muscles do. I've overworked them in my youth. I feel like most people have overworked muscles and joints and whatnot. And it's very important to try and think about where those are and how you can work them less, but certainly to avoid working them not at all. You still want them to be working, you just want to work them less. Breathing is definitely the most important thing I've found, and in my own studies connected to some business research, I even found, as I was trying to create a business plan for a massage therapy, since I've given up, but I noticed that between sectors of alternative medicine, the most used, the most popular, was breathing exercises. And that really surprised me. I thought it would be stretching or something else, but it dawned on me then, seeing that sort of pie chart, that breathing is the most universally useful thing to do physically and mentally, really. Breathing properly helps you find good posture. Breathing properly helps you relax. It's used in therapy. Just everything. It's amazing. My mind is just racing with all the connections and benefits you can get from good breathing. Breathing is the number one aim in finding a good stretch, finding where your limits are, as yoga is my number one physical discipline. I find it extremely useful. I find the more that I read, as almost a non sequitur, I find the more I read from Bruce Lee's books on training and strength training, I really have to do less strength training as opposed to him. I mean, I need to do more in general for myself. But more than anything, his stretching regimen was the most impressive. He paid great attention to how long and how one should breathe, how long one should be in the stretch for. And it's important not to stretch too little. A little less important not to stretch too much, maybe. But that's based on, my own people's cultural errors. Okay, that is the end of this tea, and I think I'd have to grab another nest were I to drink some more. So, the tea dictates the end, does it not? Thanks for joining me. Let me know what you think. Till next time.